How to perform a find in Doctor's Pay calculator. The most common find you will perform is in the calculation sheet area, which is where you process the pays. So to perform this find, from the main menu, you need to click on Doctor's Pays. You now come to the Doctor's Pays menu. Now within this menu, you obviously go into enter the pays in the calculation sheet area. So this is the area I recommend you do the find. If you want to click on Go to Calculation Sheet, OK. Now, as you can see here, this is the data entry area. At the moment, we've got 13 records that reside in this file for the financial year, which relate to different doctors and different pay period ending dates. As you can see there, we've got Brent White and we've also got a Deborah Smith. Now, if I'm wanting to find information for, say, the December quarter for one of the doctors or several doctors, you can actually perform a find in here to tell the database to bring up information for that period only. To perform this find, you need to first click on the word find. Now before you do that, before you click on the word find, you need to make sure that you do not overwrite any fields in here while you're in here. This is a program that does perform a live save, so as soon as you overwrite any figure, it is going to change. I'll give you this example here. I changed that to 22 by accident. See that? It's now changed. So you now need to put that back to how it was. The idea is when you perform a find, you need to come in and click the word find. You will then come up with a completely blank record. There should be no fields that have got any data into it. So now to perform a find on, say, the December pay period, you need to pick a unique field for this find. So here I'm going to pick the 31st of December 2011. So just select the pay period ending date, pick the calendar, the 31st of December. Alternatively, you can key in the date, but just make sure when you key it in, it's actually in an American format, not Australian. Now I've selected the date, you want to tell the database to actually perform the find. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either click on Perform Find at the top of the screen here, or alternatively, you can click Enter on your keyboard. So if we just use the field up the top of the menu there, you'll see now that it's performed the find, and it's actually found one record out of the 13 in there that relate to the pay period ending date for the 31st of December. What this has done now is only showing you records that relate to this find. As you can see, I can't go between records at the top there. Now, where this comes in handy is if you want to print out, say, a tax invoice or a VAS summary or a calculation sheet just for this period. If you click on Return to Pay menu now, anything you now go into within this doctor's menu, right down to end of year, is only going to hold information relating to that find. So if we click on, say, go to tax invoice for doctor, just make sure you click sort, or sorry, refresh when you come in here. You'll see now it's only holding up paid period ending date for Brent White for the 31st of December, and it's only holding data for the 31st of December pay. Alternative as well, we go back to Return to Pay menu, and go into the VAS extract summary for doctor. Again, it's only holding the information relating to the end of December pay period. Now, if you want to go back to Return to Pay menu, you go into Calculation Sheet again, click OK, you still see that it's found 1 out of 13 records. Now, if you want to do another find, which is, I guess, what we consider a more advanced find, what we're going to do is you're going to click on Find. The day you want to find information relating to the whole financial year. So if we look at the 2012 financial year as an example, let's pick from 1st of July, and you want to go to the 30th of June. Now the way to do that is you need to put your cursor back in the pay period ending date field, double click so that you end up with a flashing cursor. Up the top here there's a menu option called Operators. To choose your menu, you'll see there's a lot of different variances that you can use for your find. There's less than, greater than. The most common one you will use though is the range, which is, if I click on that, it's 3 dots. Alternatively, you can just enter 3 dots from your keyboard. Now what that's saying is I want to do a find from the 1st of July 2011, and I actually want it to come until the 30th of June 2012. So because it is American, you need to enter it in the American format. So it needs to go the month first, the day, and then the year. And you have to key this in on your keyboard because it does not come up with a second calendar option. Now again, because I want it to now perform the find, you can either click Perform Find up there or enter on your keyboard. Just use the menu again. You've seen now that it's found 13 out of 13 records. What that means is every record in here relates to the 2012 financial year. And if we go now return to pay menu, and you come into tax invoice for doctor, if you just click refresh, what that will do, it refreshes the screen from the last time you've been in there. You can press refresh as many times as you want, it's not going to be a problem. What this is now giving you is a tax invoice that's consolidated for the whole financial year. So if we scroll through, you can see Brent White, he has got a few records, but you see that the figure down here does not change as you scroll through them. And if we get to Deborah Smith, same again, she's got probably about 3 or 4 records for this financial year, and again her figure does not change down the bottom there. So if you actually click to print now, it would only give you 1 tax invoice per doctor. As much as it's saying that there's 13 records here, it will not give you 13 pages. It's because you told the program to do a find on that financial year, it will condense it down for that time period only. The last common find as well that you may come across is if you go back to calculation sheet, let's go OK, you may want to just do a find on the financial year and just for one particular doctor. So again, click on the word find before typing in anything on the screen. We've got a blank record. Again, we might want to do the financial year, so if we go back to the 30th of June, sorry, 1st of July, we want to do the date range. I'm just going to use 3 dots on my keyboard now, and I'm going to pick the 30th of June 2012. Now, I don't want it to just be the financial year for all the doctors, I actually just want it to be one. So if you click on the provider account here, and I want it to be this doctor, and now you go perform finds. What you can see it's done is actually just found a doctor on the 2012 financial year for Dr. White, and it's only bringing records up relating to him. Dr. Smith is no longer in there. So what that's done is consolidated the information just relating to him. And again, if you go return to pay menu, any report you bring up in here, whether it be the tax invoice, check and banking summary, click refresh, will only have information relating to him. So pretty much as you can go into any one of these fields, and where there's a yellow field you can do a find on that field, I still recommend that you do all your finds in the calculation sheet because you are familiar with the fields, you know what they mean, and this is probably the most detailed area where you can have options to do finds. Probably the last tip is if you have performed a find, so I've just done a find on the 2012 financial year for Dr. White, but I made a mistake on that find and I actually wanted it to be Dr. Smith. Instead of actually clicking find again, and you want to go back and have to retype everything in, you can actually click on, if you go control on your keyboard, if you go control R, what this actually does, it picks up your last find you've done. See how it's kept your dates in the pay period menu here, and it's also kept the same provider number. So instead of having to retype it in, it's picked up your last find and you can just modify it. So now if I just want to change, say, the provider number to be Dr. Smith, and I hit enter on my keyboard twice, and now you can see it's only picked up the records relating to Dr. Smith. If we scroll through, there's actually 4 records there. So again, it's just a bit of a time saver with that option. But that's it. But as I said, just remember, do not come into any fields and start overwriting things. Make sure you always click on find and you have a blank record before you start typing things in this field.
Follow the